You got,
Yes,
but you're right there.
I'm pretty close. It's my when I was 12 years old, I was put out into the fields to work with the orange pickers in Southern California.
Ah,
So I was a
okay.
12-year-old out there with all being the only Waito around. And I got called other very affectionate names that at the time I didn't
I'm
understand.
sure.
But
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. We
learned
won't. This is a
Spanish.
family-friendly zone, so we won't explain all that, will we?
That's exactly. See, you get it. You get it.
I do, Paul, all too well. I mean, those were some of the first words I learned as a Spaniard in Santa Barbara. When you're on out there in elementary school, those are the first words you hear outside of from those we're working with.
Well, Pendejo. It's just a few of those.
Oh, he's going there. Okay.
Anyway, so
The
welcome
gringo is
aboard.
definitely one you're going to hear when you're out there. That's for sure.
Now, are you located in Santa Barbara?
So my home base, I was born. I'm a Caneo Valley kid. My family, I put down there. If you'll understand, I'm the grandson of Reba Jeffries, and the Stagecoach Inn Museum is still erected and standing strong there in Caneo Valley. So being born native Californian, however, military brought me here to the East Coast, and I'm currently here at Homestead, Florida, where you can see behind me is our new complex where we're hosting and housing our veterans right now in transition.
Well, awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And
Thank
so
you.
talk about the veterans, because we do have someone with the New California State Movement and is very close to the veterans. She actually lobbies on behalf of the veterans in Washington, D.C. all the time.
Yes.
She's constantly
so grateful.
back and forth. And I was hoping that maybe we will introduce the both of you, because this is something right down her alley, because she's constantly working with the veterans and making sure the veterans are taken care of. So this, the idea about housing veterans and what they need is something that a lot of people don't understand, but it's absolutely true, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What we talk about all the time, Paul, is that we liken it to the tree of life. In psychology, there's a conversation of Maslow's hierarchy that says you basically establish a fundamental, elementary, basic needs, and it goes to the higher order of needs.
Right.
For the veteran, that's a different type of hierarchy. We need our own hierarchy, and we like to look at our living beings as living beings. And so when you look at a tree of life, if you look at the trees that are out there, your favorite, unless you were talking about orange trees, if you were to have your favorite tree when you were a kid going up to it, you see it, you wouldn't want to just transplant it and put it out in the desert. It wouldn't make sense. You're like, oh, why would I do that? It's not going to function. It's not going to produce the fruits that it needs. And here in sunny Florida, there's a lot of oranges out here.
Oh, yeah.
And we wanted, right? But it's in good soil. It's in what it needs. And veterans need to have roots. And that's our first pillar of veteran transition, because without roots, you can't have fruits. So right here behind me, we have 270 apartments that were built specifically to house veterans, first responders, and our family members underneath the C19 model in order to provide the services that the veterans need, but to have them housed, because we're in an existential housing crisis right now.
Right.
And veterans are sorely in need of housing. There are 300,000 veterans just in Florida alone that are underhoused. That means they're living in squalor. They're living in some type of degradation, mold. I was just another veteran's house, an Army veteran last night, in their area that it's mold infested. It's just disgusting. And so we here with Net Zero for Heroes, my company, you can see us at netzeroforheroes.com. We focus on net zero. So we're concrete, Cat 5, 7.1 Richter scale. We're building bomb shelters for veterans at affordable rates because we're coming in quick, but we're coming in strong and with concrete forms, and we're building net zero. So we're beyond sustainability. And we're housing our veterans, working with the systems that are out there in VA right now, federal, state, and local, and we're ensuring that the veteran gets the best services that they need for their earned benefits, because they served and sacrificed for all of us. So as we get them housed, from there we get to the base of the tree of life, and that's the whole veteran, the second pillar, which is the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical well-need of the veteran. Well, we can't do that if we don't have them housed, Paul.
Yeah.
If we don't have them in a place where we can service them in a community and give them what they need, then they're scattered, and that's why we have such a problem today with our service members.
Now, let me ask you the question. You were from California and you moved out to Florida, and we've had a lot of that. We've seen a lot of people leaving to go to Florida. by the way, Florida is the top place in which people leave from California to go to Florida. Everybody says it's Texas, it's Idaho, it's Tennessee. That's not really the number one.
No.
Is your state. But out here in California, we have different needs because we have a tyrannical regime is what we have. I think everybody
sure do. It's horrible.
It's complete.
You should be in jail.
Thank you.
You should.
I know. No, we're trying. Listen, brother, we are.
You should be, brother. Yeah, that's disgusting. What's happened to my state as a fifth generation Californian. My family went with the Exodus in the 90s, and I went into service at 17 outside of in Philadelphia. So as a reverse Karate Kid, for me, going from California, LA to Philadelphia, right, I learned how to serve and how to protect myself and my family when I went into service, but ended up having one foot here because of our counter-narco-terrorism and activity down here, keeping our passageways of and thoroughfares in the Caribbean and to South America and the West Coast clear. So working with the Coast Guard and the U.S. Navy, this ended up being a hotspot for me. So it's more the military that really brought me. Our sister city, San Diego, for me, and Virginia Beach. So this has always been a military community and connection. And the draw was here to serve and help those 1.5 million veterans that are here in Florida right now.
So you
but
do
you're
have,
right. There's that.
You do have a California connection now.
I've never left it, brother. I mean, this is you're talking the StagecoachInMuseum.com. You guys can look into it with our family. They called us the Kennedys of Conejo Valley for a reason, because my grandmother, she was the president of an all-male chamber of commerce in 1960, right? Her husband, my grandfather, World War II veteran. Still the Jeffrey's Garage is still active today in Hollywood. We would take all of the ranchers who come to our ranch, and we are a rodeo Reagan Californian community, right? We held rodeos. We drove our Angus steer from California to Texas. It is definitely the embodiment of what California stood for. And my grandmother stood up against the time principalities, and so did my grandfather against the Teamsters. And what did I do? Well, my mother lost all of her siblings to car accidents.
Wow.
Now, this is well known. This is history. And I was the last living heir. And my mother said, we're out of here. Because once they came what they came for, and they took that away from my grandmother, we lost the estate. This is all well-known history. But I grew up right there in Conejo Valley and in Santa Barbara on the coast. As a kid, I'm always swimming in the Pacific. I am always in the water because of my California roots as a coastal kid.
The water is
about every 3 months. Oh yeah,
the water is cold there. Though. That's where I first learned how to board surf. Was Rincon.
Yeah.
That was my first event. That was in the early '60s, actually. Believe it or not.
See, so that's my cousins, my brothers, all that. My oldest brother's 21 years older than me, so you guys probably run the same waters at the same time.
Yeah,
and, that's never. So California, I'm there every 4 to 5 months, and then I'm there for a month, and we still have family holdings there, and family is really deep, all the way from San Luis Obispo all the way down to San Diego, and then going as far down as Oaxaca. So the West Coast to me is home, and it's always been. I believed inherently in what you were doing, by the way, when you started for the new California. I believe we need to make California golden again. And I would love to please keep me on your short list of the one who gives that man the pink slip and every other sanctuary city in California, okay? Because you can count on this combat chaplain veteran to show up.
Yeah, I know how sweet that would be, and no problem, brother. No problem.
Please, give me, man. I'll gladly show up and help out. And with our family roots and our history there, it would just be great for my grandmother to see that happen, and my father.
It's kind of interesting that my parents also had some dealings with Hollywood. A lot of actually, my uncle was a concert pianist with one of the major, with MGM and also Warner Brothers. He was all the piano music you heard was his in a lot of the movies out there. He had a big contract, and then of course my uncle was the maitre d' at Lowry's the Prime Rib for 30 years.
Oh, yeah, man, that's some good food there. I've been there.
Oh yeah, the prime rib, and I used to work at the Five Crowns down in Lowry's, the Five Crowns down in Corona del Mar, which is also in a
Okay,
Hollywood type place. But
sure, sure, sure.
the days have really changed, but I think they're going to come back in terms of the conservatives in Hollywood. I'm really seeing that. What we get, because we get a lot of people coming to the New California State Movement out of the Valley there and out of Hollywood, even though part of our border does not include that area. But we get a lot of people that come in, and they're very conservative. Everybody thinks they're very liberal, but I've found the movie industry to be quite conservative. It's just that they've been run over by the majority with all the money, and this is what's been happening in Hollywood.
And Paul, you know that that's indicative of every system that we have, right? It's
Right.
the Marxist communists come in, they throw around their God, which is money. My God is Jehovah Jireh, my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ. I put my strength and faith in him alone. And he's the one thing I fear the most, okay, is him. And I'm not going to go against anything that I know that he is calling me to. So when I'm walking in step with him, I'm walking in his alignment, then I know that inherently his spirit is working through me to do good deeds. They, on the other hand, are constantly giving in to their spirit of mammon and to this false god, which is manna, right, to money, and money is their god. Money is part of the mission, okay? It's a brick. It's just like the concrete behind me, but I don't bow down to it, right? Instead, what I do is I focus on him and I let him be my focus. And they come in with their money and they start throwing it around and they make slaves out of people. And that's what we need to get away from. And that's indicative of every institution that's out there. That's why Marxism and communism is prevailing in California. That's why it's prevailing in these other failed states like New York and in cities like Philadelphia, these sanctuary cities that are just being destroyed from the inside out by the Soros-funded DAs all the way down to the governors that are getting that money as well, and then every other institution receiving those funds. And it is a spirit of the enemy. It has nothing to do with God, and that's the problem, right? And that's they want to throw him out, as they want to throw out that we have these certain inalienable truths that they are God-given, our life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, which is what our Constitution is built on, which is what I put my hand on the Bible and swore an oath to at 17 that I would defend this Constitution against both foreign and domestic enemies. And this prevails in our veteran community to this day. There's 14.5 million combat veterans like me who could put on their boots and go back to war without changing anything but our hats and our shoes. We are more than combat capable and driven, and have proven that over the 40 years that we've been fighting Wahhabism.
Well, in this, there's something going to happen, because, what we're fighting out here, and this is our dilemma. And, we know that we have a lot of veterans out there, but there's going to have to be a time in which we're going to have to rise up and stop the border invasion ourselves. I think that's really what, and I have been long in the tooth about saying we're not, we're going to rely on the system, but the system, when it breaks down, as you've seen right now with Joe Biden and the Texas border, he wasn't providing freedom from invasion at all, which is one of his big pillars that he has to provide to the states. So Abbott took it upon himself to use the Texas National Guard and pushed out the feds and said, we're going to do the border protection, not you. Now we're faced in California with open border, in which Gavin Newsom, he's following right along with Biden. I mean, well, actually, Biden, I think, is following right along with Newsom.
I agree with that statement. Yep.
We have a wide open border, and nothing's happened. So what we've done, my Assembly and Senate voted me to be the governor pro tempore. And so I have taken upon myself to contact people to see about bringing in National Guard units into California from other states. While our National Guard in California stands ready, I don't think they'll be responsive. We'll just have to see. This is a very difficult time in the law constitutionally, but we, the citizens movement in the nation, have a responsibility to protect the border. I swore an oath, and all new Californians swore an oath in leadership to protect the Constitution, which, by the way, I find interesting that they've reversed the script on everybody and says that we are the insurrectionists, when in fact They have an
They
insurrection
are.
going against the Constitution.
Hmm. And it's
and,
people,
and
because
it's
they're duly governed by the people. That the only reason that they're there is because we the people have put them there to do service for us. And so they are clearly, and have for numerous years, been against the community and against the people. And I believe inherently that you're right. And you're right that the Constitution gives us these. The founding fathers were genius in how they built this. They knew that inevitably tyranny would raise up and that fascism would take over, and that we, the people, needed the strength in order to overthrow and take out tyranny, terrorists. We're not going to let that happen under our watch. And I guarantee there's millions of veterans in California that feel the same way.
oh yeah,
And millions of veterans. California has pervaded and still is one of our top 5 states in engagement on digital assets across the country, because there are numerous millions of veterans still all throughout California that are sick and tired of being sick and tired. 85% of the veterans that voted in the way of Trump in the last numerous 2 election cycles. Okay, that's unheard of. That's never happened before. The amount of veterans that came out to show support for President Trump and his way of thinking and his agenda is a pro-America vet first, pro-America first mindset. And veterans are ready to stand up against the tyranny, and will stand in the gap with you, Paul. And I
yeah,
guarantee that, because I speak to thousands and thousands of veterans all the time, and especially in California, they are sick of it. And majority of California is a conservative state. It
yeah,
always has been. And if we got back to real election integrity, then all of those yahoos would be out, and you wouldn't have to go down the new California plan. But I believe inherently in what you're doing. And I know that they're too entrenched, and the Marxism is taken over, and the money grubby, godlessness that is continuing to pervade is what you're up against, and that is a stronghold. And the only way you can get rid of a stronghold is to starve it out.
right. And that's exactly what is happening to themselves. I wouldn't say we, but they have forced themselves into a position in which we're the only alternative. And most people don't understand that, but that's why we're here now, because we have positioned ourselves to be at this moment in time in history as the new California state movement, because we could see the projections of the financial collapse of California, which is occurring right now. It's in free fall. Gavin Newsom has pushed it so that we're about $280 billion in debt. That's cash debt. They have 4 more months left in the fiscal year, and they have no money right now. So it's going to be a very interesting end of this month in April. Actually, it's a very interesting time right now, because we know that they're not paying.
It is.
And so that's
I believe, Paul, that we were born for this moment, right? It's called kairos in Greek. It's not chronos, which is by my watch,
right.
But it's a kairos, right? Convergence of time, and this very moment that we were born for such a time as this. And I'm grateful to God that I'm here at this moment to be able to take action as an individual, as a father, as a family man, as a husband, as one who is deeply rooted in our country and in its beliefs. And I've been all around the world. I've traveled all throughout and seen how horrible it is out there, and how America really is exceptional and a beacon on a hill. And we are a light to this world, and we need to be. And we need to also we need to take care of our own house and get our house in order. And we have to take care of our garden here if we want to take care of others and pervade life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness around, which we are so grateful of.
Well, listen, we got to run for time, but I want you to give us information on how we can get a hold of you, because we definitely will be in contact. And I'll have Stephanie contact you. That's our Stephanie. She's the lobbyist for the Veterans Administration, so we can continue the dialogue, because you're going to be an important part to the veterans that we're serving out here in the new California state movement. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show today. But, just to basically have this dialogue, get our veterans ready to go.
Well, Paul, I appreciate that. On our nonprofit, you can find us for donations at end27.org. We're housing right now 25 homeless veterans, and we're trying to get them right now their basic essentials. We have them traveling in from all over the states and other states as well. And please, you're all welcome to come and find us at oy6.org. For any veteran that's out there seeking help and needs assistance, we will be there for you. We can house you here in Homestead, Florida with their HUD-VASH vouchers. At the same time, we can help transfer and get them their earned benefits and we're here to serve. Now, if it's for profit and conversations with our for-profit company and building and how we did this, you can go to netzeroforheroes.com.
Yeah.
That's netzeroforheroes.com, and you can find out more.
There is a very special interest in the net zero business that you have going on. That's another motivator for us to call, because we do have people that spotted what was going on in our movement and that are in the buildings trades, as an example. And that's a whole other conversation. We'll have to do another interview on that.
And I look forward to it.
Oh yeah, because it's pretty exciting what you're doing. Absolutely exciting.
Thank you.
Everything.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a part of all of this right now.
Awesome.
It's great.
Awesome. Joshua, thank you very much for being with us, founder of the Vet Chaplain Corporation, Net Zero for Heroes, Joshua Macias, Jeffries. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. God bless. Godspeed. Out.
God bless. Okay, so anyway, we'll be right back. You're listening to Agenda 21 Radio. Remember to visit our website, a21r.com, and of course, New California State. New California State, State of the Future. We'll be right back.
Great show.
I do not respect an oath breaker. Anybody who's holding a public office has taken the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. That does not mean you put how you feel first, how you emotionally react to a tragedy first. Because you think it's better that I will be safer, you abrogate my constitutional rights. That's breaking your oath, and I have no respect for that. I'm a mom, and there's only one thing that I'm afraid of, and that's the people in elected office taking away my rights. I'm not afraid of the crook that's going to come to my door, because if my dogs don't get him, I will, and it's my job to defend myself. It's not your job to protect me. It's not your job to defend me. It's your job to protect the Constitution and protect my rights to defend myself.
This is the first time in the memory of all of the sheriffs in this state. So the sheriffs, there's only 58 of us in the state, and we come together for meetings every 3 months. The current governor, we're talking 5 years now, he's never met with us once. Every governor before him met with us every 2 months. This governor refuses. He has never met with us, ever. He has no desire to. They're making all of these public safety laws and changing laws that are on the books that concern public safety, closing down prisons, letting people out early. He has never consulted with the public safety experts, the ones that deal with it every single day. Never. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
You've tried to reach out to him?
Absolutely.
There's no clear reason why he doesn't.
He's busy. That's the answer. Every governor in our history hasn't been that busy, but apparently he's too busy.
You to Joshua Macias, Jeffries, and there's a history there. I'm not going to tell it right now about his family, which is just amazing, Conejo Valley, and what happened there was interesting. But this is from the veterans that he's got. This is his company, and just sort of put it out there. This is his for-profit angle. That if you can have a really effective nonprofit, there's got to be a tie-in somewhere to a real profit company, and that's very difficult to do for nonprofits. But for veterans, it's a little bit easier, and it's not easy. None of this is easy. There are more things that are open to you. How about that one? It's not easy. None of this is easy. I don't care what you say. None of this is easy. Putting all this stuff together, the pastiche and everything, the things that he's had to go through to get all, it's not easy. Okay. Did I say it's not easy? Yeah, it isn't. Okay. So this is it from veterans. It says for veterans and first responders, it says a portion of all proceeds go to empowering veterans and first responders, nonprofit organizations. Of course, that's who it is. So look it up, and this is called Net Zero. And the page, what do I have here? Yeah, it's Net Zero for heroes.com, netzeroforheroes.com. I didn't put that out there, but you can get the information from the website here, netzeroforheroes.com. And let's open it up. It says it's miles per hour wind resistance 250. Wow, Richter scale 7.1. Termites and mold, no. Recycle steel, yes. What is this all about? This is a fascinating construction process that is for real. It's not. There are some places out there that aren't doing the right thing or don't have the wherewithal. And I'm hoping that there's certain people that are watching this. They certainly will be brought to this page to watch this, because we do have people in the New California State Movement that are very, very interested in this variety of construction. So let's kind of dive into it. Let's see what we got here. Richter scale, what are we all about? Net zero, what does that mean? Highest rated energy efficiency for building solutions. Says, do you mean I can own a home with no money out of pocket? Federal, local opportunities provide veterans and first responders zero down purchasing options. There you go. Zero down. That's what we're talking about. And this is the process. I'm going to put this out here. Show you something as we go through this process, or they go through it. Here you go. I think you can see this, right? Yeah, you should. Okay, this is the fabrication process that go through. So in one day, they've got this thing completely decked out, and then they start adding on to the roofs and second stories, it looks like. And the beautiful home. So visit the website, our website, and you get the net zero information. And that's on Agenda 21 Radio in New California State. You can find that information there. So I'm going to have to go because, we don't have any sound to describe it other than just little old me. But you can get some beautiful homes out of this. And this is their for-profit angle. There's a number of different construction techniques that are involved with this. From my understanding, it's very, very inexpensive to build these compared to the normal cost of homes. So, and also net zero is that, it'll stand a 7.1 earthquake, no problem. And having been in Southern California, lived through hundreds of earthquakes, literally, some major, some big ones. People died, actually. Those kind of earthquakes, this is a good way to build it. A 7.1 earthquake is very, very strong. It's 10 times stronger than a 6.1, and that is strong. But imagine if it goes to like an 8, everything's gone. And that's actually what, that's, so I'm getting some signals here, messages. You guys stop this messaging in the middle of the radio show. Anyway, so this was a great experiment to be shown here, the net zero business. And I'm really glad that we got to meet Mr. Jeffrey. Actually, it's not Mr. Jeffrey Macias, but the family legacy in the Conejo Valley. I want to pull that up for you sometime. It's very fascinating when we have a discussion about New California, some of the historical perspectives that are out there for all of us to see. Yeah, the history of some of the Californios and that sort of thing. We'll be right back.
Mr. Mayorkas, I actually really want to thank you as well for coming here today, for your performance. I have watched with absolute fascination as you have danced and dodged and lied. Yes, lied. We know you've lied. You know you've lied. But more importantly, the American public knows that you lied throughout your testimony today. And yet you believe that you and your fellow architects of the censorship industrial complex think that you should be able to determine what is and isn't true, and what is and isn't untrue. You are the walking, talking epitome of the very tyrant that our forefathers recognized would gravitate towards government service. And it is because of people like you that they drafted the First Amendment. I thank them for their foresight. I thank them for recognizing that you and people like you would do everything in your power to control speech, to control freedom, to take away our rights. And they've written a document that isn't going to allow you to do that. Unfortunately, we still have courts and judges who recognize that you don't have the power that you are attempting to take, that you do not have the right to limit our freedom of speech, our freedom of association, our right to communicate. Thank God we have the First Amendment so that we can stop you from doing what you've been doing. With that, I yield back.
.com, and of course New California State, State of the Future. And we got Cal Globe here, cover some of the California news and information, and we got this right now from the Sacramento Bee. This just now came in. It's from yesterday, but it just now came in. Roughly, the state workers in 8 more California departments received 2-day return to office mandate. 2-day. Okay. Roughly 19,000 permanent state workers under the California Natural Resources Agency will be required to return to their offices or work in the field at least twice a week starting this spring. Secretary Wade Crawford announced that the change Friday afternoon in an all-staff email, which the Sacramento Bee obtained via a California Public Records request, similar to other state agencies and departments that have announced return to office orders. Crawford's email cites the importance of in-person work for increasing collaboration, mentorship, and productivity. The mandate affects workers in these 8 departments: the Office of Secretary, Department of Fish and Wildlife, Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, Department of Water Resources, Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Conservation, California Energy Commission, California Conservation Corps. Okay, now, as I read this, what is this order? It says, to make this decision, we have reviewed research, gathered feedback from employees, and reflected on our own experiences leading our organizations over the last several years, Crawford's email read. The agency says it reviews its review of national surveys and its own employees feedback indicates strong preferences for shifting from a traditional 5-day in-person model to a hybrid workplace arrangement to provide greater work-life balance. It says the number of in-person days recommended in the studies and surveys range from 1 day a week to 3.5 days that you're in the office. This is ridiculous. Departments will utilize employee feedback over time to assess whether the 2-day per week minimum of in-person work or is our collective sweet spot. 2 days. The email from Crawford says the return to office will come in 2 stages. Starting on May 20th, supervisors and managers will be required to report to their offices or work in the field a minimum of twice per week. It says then on June 3rd, all employees will be subject to the 2-day in-person mandate. Oh, geez. I'm sorry, you have to go to work for 2 days. That's really what it comes down to, guys. You wonder why California's run amok. I mean, these are major departments. So these bureaucrats get 3 days off. They only work 2 days a week. Some of these guys are making $200,000 and $300,000 a month or a year. Do you see why we might have a problem? Crawford acknowledged that several groups of employees within the agencies have continued working full-time in person since the COVID-19 pandemic due to the nature of their jobs, and others have already started working in the office or in the field at least twice a week. The last paragraph of the email mentioned that many other CNRA entities have already implemented these changes or plan to do so. Crawford did not mention those additional entities by name. We support their efforts and look forward to greater coordination and collaboration. Now, want state workers news in your... Okay, you want that in your docs? I don't think so. Anyway, glory be. They're back to work for 2 days a week. But I wonder how long. It's still April. I wonder if they're going to be returning. We're going to find out if they're going to be returning at all. Some people are going to be, in my opinion, they're going to be forced to go a different direction. Okay, so let's take a look at Cal Globe. We've got a number of articles up there that I wanted to get to, and let's see if they've changed their articles to the ones that I wanted to get to, and we'll see. Anyway, Cal Globe, Katie Grimes in the group. That's the important thing. We got Gavin Newsom. Newsom says a mistaken press statement about Florida Supreme Court decision on heartbeat law. We corrected it for him. Oh, that's always nice. That's always nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see. Here we go. Adam Schiff and Garvey keep massive leads in U.S. Senate primary as vote tabulation winds down. California press releases an April Fool's paradise. After issuing a death sentence on California's death penalty, Gavin Newsom approves 3 more prison closures. That's always nice. Okay, so what happened here? He corrected something about the Florida, or had to, on a press release. You know, Gavin Newsom has nothing to say about any other states. He really doesn't. It says, Newsom's mistaken press statement about Supreme Court decision on heartbeat law. We corrected it for him. This is Katie Grimes. Polling shows the heartbeat law is right in line with the views of Florida residents. Last week, the Globe reported that Governor Newsom calls Supreme Court hearing on abortion pill backdoor abortion ban, and we pointed out that he was incorrect and questioned why California taxpayers are paying for Newsom's abortion travel business to California. Says California is the abortion sanctuary state as of 2022, another California first. And the people did not vote on Gavin Newsom's officially created a state agency website to assist out-of-staters with their abortion travel plans. And Newsom invites people seeking abortion care for information about reproductive health care in California to visit abortioncalifornia.gov. Says Monday, Gavin Newsom decided to weigh in on the Supreme Court decision on the state's heartbeat law. In a press statement, However, that press statement is riddled with inaccuracies. So we thought we'd clean it up. Here is California's Newsom actual press statement. And I don't really want to read all that. His statement on Florida Supreme Court decision, DeSantis' 6-week abortion ban to take effect. Women in need of abortions can visit abortioncalifornia.gov, blah, blah, blah. As attacks on reproductive freedom goes on and on and on and on. What is it that they corrected? It says here that Governor Newsom's statement on the Florida should law to take effect. This is how they corrected the version. They're not really explicit about that, but suffice it to say it was wrong and they corrected it. And that's Katie Grimes. And I trust her explicitly, but I'm not going to read the whole article because we're running out of time. Some of the salient points, though, say it says here, Florida babies are now protected once a heartbeat is heard, thanks to Governor DeSantis. On April 14, 2022, DeSantis signed HB 5, the Reducing Fetal and Infant Mortality Act, excuse me, to protect the lives of Florida's most vulnerable, by prohibiting all abortions after 15 weeks. Today, yet another right was upheld by Governor DeSantis' pro-life agenda. Governor Newsom says, why does this matter? It says, following Roe v. Wade being overturned in the United States Supreme Court, Governor DeSantis made Florida the next state to officially protect the lives of unborn children. The law will save thousands of lives annually and provide $25 million in aid to women and families. And says Florida's highest court upheld both the 15-week heartbeat laws that expands pro-life protections. Yeah, so, the guy's a murderous thug. That's really what he wants. He wants to murder babies. That's Gavin Newsom. Why not, right? Yeah. Another April Fool's whatever. It says frequently asked questions about political activities. We don't want that one. Klamath River and dam removal crisis continues. And I definitely want that one. And shall I play it? I shall. We have Doug LaMalfa's statement, the one that he fooled everybody and talked about 0.004% of carbon dioxide in the environment. Anyway, but he also, the one thing that LaMalfa is talking about these days is what's happening in the Klamath River and all the sludge and everything that's going on there. The total destruction of an ecosystem, total. And I mean, this is what liberalism and the mental illness that it does get you. Now, the people up in the Klamath River have been fighting against this dam removal business for years and years and years because they knew that what was going to be the end result of all this was going to be the destruction of the Klamath River, and that this is what they've gotten. You had some tribal members and some other so-called, quote, do-gooders that want to destroy the dams, take dams out so that they can rewild the place. Well, rewilding means you're going to destroy it. That's what it means. And we've been saying this. And, you had a lot of people that had good intentions to try and stop all this and have been stopping the fight. Debbie Bacigalupi comes to mind and her family up there, and others in Siskiyou and in that area that have been putting up this fight for years. And it says Klamath River and dam removal crisis continues with California Department of Fish and Game wildlife failure. It's just a matter of time before the wildlife failure comes about, right? Is there a cabal to support the politics of the dam removal narrative at any cost? Of course there is. William Simpson put this out yesterday. It says you can see the citizens of Siskiyou County recover remains of a dead beaver after California Department of Fish and Game failed to respond. Yeah, they picked up the body. They got rid of it. It says here on Tuesday, March 22nd or 26th, the Siskiyou County Board of Supervisors declared a local state of emergency in regard to the adverse impacts of the Klamath Dam removal project affecting the Klamath River. Details of that action by the county's Board of Supervisors can be found in the California Globe. It says, for nearly 2 years, the CEO of the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, Mark Branson, and KRRC Public Information Officer Ronald Brownell provided numerous public presentations outlining exactly how they intended to dewater the lakes behind the Klamath River dams. Their detailed slideshows presentation depicted the timelines of the projects, including the timeline and schedule for draining of the water from the lakes behind the dams. KRRC PowerPoint below the slide shows that the timeline for dewatering the lakes taking about 2 months. On January 23rd, 2024, the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, headed by Branson, decided to go off plan without any public consultation or input from Siskiyou County, and they drained the water from the Klamath Lakes in just a few days. In just a few days. Didn't follow the plan, the approved plan. No, because they're totalitarian dictators. They said they can do it, and they did it. The Klamath is a wreck now. And in that off-plan action, they released, according to Mr. Branson, about 5 to 7 million cubic yards of sediments into the main stem of the Klamath River. Those sediments were known as by KRRC to be polluted, as outlined in the 2009-2011 Smith-Stillwater study. Then, in a rush to create an arguably false statement of success, the board of the KRRC nonprofit American Rivers awarded people and organizations involved in the Klamath Dam's removal project their so-called River of the Year award, thus essentially patting themselves and KRRC on their backs, and as millions of dead animals and were decomposing. It is now known as the River of Death. And take a look at all these dead animals, from turtles to fish to deer to beaver. The whole system, poison. River of the Year contaminated. Lead, aluminum, arsenic, and other toxins found in Klamath River sediments and water. This is what you get when you have these radicals who want to remove dams. They don't go by the rules. They plan it all out, and then they don't go by the rules, and they destroy the ecosystem. Classic. Absolutely classic. This is totalitarianism. Absolutely pure totalitarianism. And it's only environmentally driven totalitarianism, I might add. Oh, what about carbon? What about that carbon? 0.004% of the environment. Oh, that's just going to kill you. There's tons of carbon that's released. What a bunch of crap. Radical environmentalism gets you this, gets you the dead river, the death and destruction of the Klamath. Yeah. And the people told you so. The Debbie Bacigalupis, all these people who spent years and years and years and money, thousands of dollars of their own to prevent this from happening. It's happening. We should not listen to these people at all. They should be run out on a rail, period. But that's just me. That's just little old me. Stopping totalitarianism, one exceptional American at a time. And I guess I'm talking to a lot of exceptional Americans, and I really do appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for listening to Agenda 21 Radio. We got to run for time right now. Remember to visit our website, a21r.com, ncs51.com. We have a lot of things coming up. Join if you had never joined before. We need everybody to join. Go to the website, hit that sign up button, and get on board to the New California State Movement. It is the only constitutional movement moving right now that's designed to protect you and stop the totalitarians. Thanks for listening to Agenda 21 Radio. Remember to visit our website, a21r.com, and, of course, New California State, State of the Future.
sending out an SOS to the last vestiges of freedom, democracy, and the American way of life. Paul Preston with Agenda 21.
This is AENN, American Exceptionalism News Network.
I do not respect an oath breaker. Anybody who's holding a public office has taken the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. That does not mean you put how you feel first, how you emotionally react to a tragedy first. Because you think it's better that I will be safer, you abrogate my constitutional rights. That's breaking your oath, and I have no respect for that. I am a mom, and there's only one thing that I'm afraid of, and that's the people in elected office taking away my rights. I'm not afraid of the crook that's going to come to my door, because if my dogs don't get him, I will, and it's my job to defend myself. It's not your job to protect me. It's not your job to defend me. It's your job to protect the Constitution and protect my rights to defend myself.